So the final thing that I wanted to show off in my overwhelming demo thing here is that I am tracking all my deletes and that they're all happening properly. So when I switch scenes, you can see down here, deleting all those objects, uh, deleting all my managers from that scene, including the collidable groups, and single key managers. So, and then the closing here, so I'll show this a little better if I just change scenes here and then clear this close. So you can see that the factory delete was called, and then my shader manager, texture manager, model manager deleted all my bounding spheres for all the game objects that were created. Game objects in the scene were deleted. The scene registration broker was deleted. Collidable group, all the collidable groups were deleted. The collision manager was deleted. The setup manager was deleted. Registration broker, all the single key managers. My alarm manager, drawable, updatable scene, camera, sprite, time manager, all of it's being deleted, and then in between scenes it's also deleting stuff. So I am tracking my deletes and making sure I delete everything properly. So moving on to the next part is the documentation stuff, and then showing off my engine a little bit better with the demo stuff. It's a little bit easier to look through user code wise. So first off, so here's what my Doxygen looks like. So we've got permafrost here, and then I have the game object, asset managers, engine, and scene. So as you can see in game object, I have an alarmable, collidable, drawable, updatable, and inputable, and they all tell you what demos to go look for when you're looking into that set of information. The asset managers are all here, and then under engine, I've got my tools, which also tell you what demos you should go to. Game is just some functions to get like the window height and stuff like that. And then the scene manager, which also has a demo, and then some other information. So you can see here, Alarmable's got alarms, the add time, reduce time, get time, registration, deregistration, and then tells you to go to demo 2. As you can see here, so I've got 6 demos. So demo 2 is about alarms on game objects, which is why this one's telling me to go there. Collidable tells me to go to demo 3, which is all about collisions. It's got demo code in all of these for if you didn't want to look at the demos, you can just see right here a simple a demonstration of how that would be used by the user. Same with all the alarmable stuff. All of them have that simple explanation of how to use everything. The asset managers just simply have how to use the get and load models. For textures, a couple more because of the load for the for a model. Engine just has the tools like the freeze time, God cam, model object, sprite object, and visualizer. They all just tell you what demo to go to, but you can also go to it and look at what simply some of them simple functions you got going on, and what you need to do for those and what they do. Some simple explanations. Game is just, like I said, just how to get the time, get the width, get the height of the window, set the window's name, set the window's height, and then set the clear color. Just some demo code and simple explanation of what it's doing for you. Scene is the last one, which just has the scene manager, which is just how to set the scene, get the current scene, all that jazz. So my idea for all this was just basically lay out all the stuff that the user would be using, have a sample code for everything the user would want to be using, and it's just a simple explanation of what it does, so that if they're ever just working on the engine, after they're done with the demos, they can always go back to this and figure out what everything does. But then I have the demos, which are to show way more in depth what's going on. For example, here is my first demo. So this is just to create a simple scene with a simple object. So first, you always go to the scene. It has an important kind of message, and all of them telling you to go to the load content function in Permafrost CPP in the Permafrost engine to make sure that you set the start scene to the demo scene, because all the demos just have the demo code and then the game components that are needed, so that this isn't just so each one of these doesn't have the engine. You just copy these into the engine and then add them to your project. So it's just telling you to change that first one from whatever it may be, or if it's nothing. And then it just has an explanation of what's going to happen in that specific demo. So this one is going to teach you how to create a simple game object, and it's going to tell you what files to look in. So you're going to look in the simple ship files and the demo scene files. Simple as that. It's going to tell you right here what these are. These are used for creation, deletion of the scene. This is creating the game object for the scene, and then create the objects in your scene and delete them from your scene. So and this is the ship. This is a more laid out version of kind of the ship that was in my other kitchen sink file that I was showing. So you just include the game object, and I'm including the Xul core, and then you use the model object to create a game object, or to create a model. Just setting up some matrices for movement, and then I describe how I'm using these for movement as well, for moving and turning while it's true, the angle for movement for the ship's turning, and then instructors, what these are used for. They're used for update and draw, setting up the game objects in the scene, so set up and deregister, and then using these for when the keys are pressed. Go to the next part, telling you how to set up that model object, and then how to set up the position, and then this moves the position into the world at that spot. They're all set to false because there's nothing moving, telling you that you need to register everything in, so it's registering all the keys, the update and draw. Everything that needs to be registered needs to be deregistered in the setup object, and then it's telling you how this will be run every update, and that all I'm doing here is moving the ship when one of these keys is pressed. This just draws during every frame, and then I explain how this happens whenever a key is pressed. So I'm setting it to true. How this happens whenever a key is released. So I'm setting this to false, and that just simply creates a simple scene where you can move a ship around in a space. Not too much going on, but it's just like this is demo 1, so it's just an introduction to everything that's going on. So the next the last demo that I have is this one, which is demo 6, which is quite a bit more going on. So we've got sprites, the ship, there's a house, and there's 2 scenes. So this last demo is to show scene changing and camera creation. So it's already shown how to show sprites, how to use the tools, how to do collision between game objects, and then how to use alarms on game objects. So this one is basically a collaboration of all of this minus the tools. The tools is kind of like an outlier where it builds off of these 3, but it doesn't continue to. These build off the 3rd demo, not the 4th. So this one's in there just to show some simple tools that they could use that might help them with these, but I don't keep using them just for the sake of viewing. So this one's on scene changing and camera changing. So every single one of them, you go to demo scene, as it's important, tells you what this demo is going to do and where to look. So this one tells you to look in demo 2 for camera creation. So you've got your new camera down here. I explain exactly what each one of these vectors is doing, how to set up the camera, how to tell tell the scene to set your new camera, and then it's also showing the scene change. So in the simple ship, which is what I use for all the explanations of what's going on, I've got down here just when the key is pressed, I'm asking the scene to change. So in this one, I've got a sprite down here in the corner spinning, and then I've got my ship with just collision with that house. But when you change scenes with the key, it moves the camera. There's no house in this scene. The sprite's still there though, and it's just a simple explanation of how to change scenes how to switch scenes. So that's kind of what I got going on here for teaching the user. I can show. So this simple ship is basically like a really good version of what a game object should look like. So, like I said before, the other one was kind of like everything in the kitchen sink. So a lot of that was not kept up, or some of there was like some extra files in there. So simply for a game object, they just need to create the game object, include game object. This one's including the house because of the collision, but you create a model object for it. It's got some matrices for positioning, movement, and then just its update, draw, setup, and deregister object. Then it's got key press, key released, and its collision. In here, just set it up with new model object, its model, texture, and model shader and texture. Give it the collider model that it's going to use, which is the same as this. Set up its position, set those to false, and its movement speed. Set up the object by registering. I've got the registering a new key there just so the user knows. Deregister everything that you register. It's got its update, draw, key pressed, key released, and then the collision's right down here. Where in this one, just because I'm segregating the user to basically these two files so they're not searching for stuff, so I'm using this to deregister the house when they collide instead of doing it in the house file. So basically, in every demo, it's mostly you're looking at the demo scene and then the simple house for what's new, and then I also just have I've created other stuff to help show it off. Except for the sprite one, obviously you're looking at the simple sprite. So that's how I'll be teaching the users. That's how I am teaching the users how to use my engine. So I think that would be about it for what I need to show off. I've shown off all of my engines, major parts, gone over the time, scene, update, drawable, inputable, alarm, collision, sprites, showed how I'm teaching the user mostly through my demos. I could actually show some other information in here, just like, for example, just another one in the middle here. So collision, I'll just show the file, the main file that I'm using in here. So it's just saying you need to set this object for models for collision, update the collision data, register it for collision, register for that. Here I say that below you need to update the collision data, and the update I'm just pointing out there is where it's being done. Explain how this works with the collision, and then additionally in the scene you've got the decide what you'll be using, what two things will be colliding, and then I also explain how they can use a collision with itself to collide with two of the same type of game object. So other than that, I believe that is it for the final sprint. I've got all that explained out. Like I said, those demos are look a little better than my my main permafrost file. That one has got a little out of hand, just size wise. Just it was working on it so much that I kind of just built the demos from scratch, so the game objects look nicer and cleaner, and those those are more defined of what the engine can really do. Other than that, I believe that is it.